This video is a short video to go with section 4-4 to talk about the factorial. And the book only briefly talks about this, so I wanted to expand on it a little bit more and show you about factorials. All right, the notation for the factorial is n and an exclamation point. Now, thing about n is a whole number. Okay, you will not have a decimal here, you will not have a negative number here. So what n factorial is equal to is n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 times on down to 2 times 2, times 2 times 1. So the easiest thing to do is look at an example. 6 factorial is equal to 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. 4 factorial would be 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So whatever is before the exclamation point, you start with that number. You start from there, walk down to 1, multiply the whole string together. Now, a couple of things to note. 0 factorial is equal to 1. There are very few things I'll tell you to memorize for this course. That is one I will suggest you memorize. There's a couple of explanations on the internet as to why this might be. None of them are all that satisfying. Take it on faith that that is the case. 1 factorial is also 1. That sometimes bothers people, so that is okay. Now, one other thing that the book does not mention anymore that used to be in there, that is a property of factorials that can come in handy. If you have a fraction, and we'll see this with some of the rules, where you have a factorial in the numerator and a factorial in the denominator, where the numerator factorial is the larger number, what you can do is this will reduce down to n times n minus 1 times n minus 2 down to m plus 1. And this is a case that makes a lot more sense if you have an example. And that's what I have here with 6 factorial over 4 factorial. So in the second spot here then, what I did was I expanded each of those out using the definition of a factorial. Now, I try to limit the algebra in this class, but hopefully from algebra you remember if you have a string of factors in the numerator and a string of factors in the denominator, you can cancel out the common factors. So in this case, we can cancel out the 4, the 3, the 2, and the 1, and we're left with just 6 times 5. This is what this rule means. Start out with the number in the numerator, multiply, count down by ones until you get 1 above whatever the denominator is. All right, that rule shouldn't be critical for this class, but it may come in handy on some of the examples. One thing you'll notice is your calculator can get into trouble with factorials fairly quickly. Most calculators, you get into the low 70s is the biggest factorial that they can handle. 70, 71 factorial usually is the largest that it can possibly do. So if you have a number bigger than that, you'll need to understand and use this rule.